Why is it that certain people leave such an indelible mark on our lives? Why do their memories linger in our minds, replaying like a song we can't turn off, long after they're gone? It's not just nostalgia, it's something deeper. The human heart is wired to connect, and the mind forms attachments that are hard to untangle. Yet, these connections, while beautiful, can also become chains that keep us from moving forward. Carl Jung, the father of analytical psychology, believed that the root of this struggle often lies within our shadow self, the parts of us we don't acknowledge, let alone embrace. These hidden aspects of our psyche can make it nearly impossible to let go, especially when emotions like love, regret, or longing are intertwined with the other person. Let me ask you this. Have you ever noticed how some memories seem brighter and more perfect than the reality they're based on? It's as if our mind edits out the painful parts and leaves us with an idealized version of what was. This is no accident. Our brain is a master storyteller, shaping our experiences to protect us, sometimes at the cost of our healing. In this video, we're not just talking about moving on. That phrase feels too shallow, doesn't it? Healing is much deeper. It's about reclaiming your power, your identity, and your emotional freedom. Over the next few minutes, we'll explore 5 meaningful steps, inspired by Carl Jung's wisdom, to help you release someone unforgettable. These steps aren't quick fixes. Instead, they're transformative practices designed to help you heal from within. We'll talk about why you're holding on so tightly, even when you know it's time to let go. We'll uncover how memory distorts reality, making it harder to move forward. Together, we'll explore the difference between loving the idea of someone versus the reality of who they were. And we'll dive into the unspoken closure you may be craving, but never got. Most importantly, we'll focus on you, rediscovering yourself, rewriting your narrative, and reclaiming your future. Each step will be rooted in a mix of psychology, philosophy, and spiritual insights. We'll reference powerful ideas from Carl Jung, profound teachings from spiritual texts, and lesser-known but life-changing books. For instance, Jung's concept of the shadow self will guide us through understanding our subconscious attachments. A line from the Quran, "Truly, with hardship comes ease," 94:6, will remind us that healing is possible even in the deepest pain. So, let's embark on this journey together. You're not alone in this, and by the end of this video, you'll walk away with a clearer mind, a lighter heart, and actionable steps to start your healing journey. Are you ready to take the first step? Let's begin. Understanding why they're hard to let go. Why is it so hard to let go of someone who's no longer in our life? Why does their presence linger in our thoughts, even when we try so hard to move forward? The answer lies not just in the heart, but deep within the brain and the subconscious mind. Let's unpack this together. Our brains are biologically designed to form connections. Relationships trigger the release of dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter that reinforces pleasurable experiences. This chemical bonding creates a feedback loop, making us associate specific people with comfort, joy, or even relief from pain. When that person leaves, the dopamine levels drop, and the brain starts craving what it's missing, similar to withdrawal from an addiction. Neuroscience, particularly the insights shared in Norman Doidge's The Brain That Changes Itself, shows us something fascinating. Our brains are incredibly adaptable, capable of rewiring connections and forming new patterns. Yet, this same plasticity can make it difficult to let go, because the emotional pathways linked to that person are deeply etched into our minds. The more you think about them, the stronger those pathways become. But this isn't just about biology, it's also about psychology. Carl Jung's concept of the shadow self provides profound insight here. He believed that our attachments often stem from unmet needs or unresolved emotions buried within our subconscious. When someone comes into our life and fulfills these needs, whether it's love, validation, or a sense of belonging, they become more than just a person to us. They become a reflection of what we feel we lack. Letting go of them can feel like losing a piece of ourselves, which is why it's so challenging. Now, let's bring in a spiritual dimension. In the Quran, there's a verse that says, "Truly, with hardship comes ease." 94.6. This simple yet powerful line reminds us that the pain of letting go is not endless. It's part of a process that leads to healing and growth. But to reach that ease, we must first understand the roots of our attachment. Here's something to think about. Are you holding on to the person, or are you holding on to what they represented in your life? Often, it's the latter. Maybe they symbolized love, safety, or a dream of what could have been. Recognizing this distinction is the first step toward releasing the emotional hold they have on you. Take a moment to reflect on your own experience. What needs did this person fulfill for you? Understanding the why behind your attachment doesn't mean you'll let go immediately, but it does lay the foundation for emotional healing. Remember, healing isn't about erasing memories. It's about reclaiming the power those memories hold over you. The highlight reel fallacy. Have you ever noticed how, when you think about someone unforgettable, the memories that come to mind are often the happiest ones? The way they smiled, the moments you laughed together, or the comfort they brought in difficult times. It's as if your mind plays a highlight reel, showcasing the best parts of your connection while conveniently editing out the conflicts, disappointments, or pain. This isn't a coincidence. Your brain is wired to do this. Let's explore this idea together. Memory is not an objective record of events. Instead, it's highly selective, shaped by our emotions, biases, and survival instincts. Cognitive psychology tells us that our brains prioritize positive memories from past relationships because they provide a sense of emotional safety. By focusing on the good, your mind tries to protect you from reliving pain or regret. But here's the catch. This selective memory often distorts reality, making it harder to move on. Carol Tavris and Elliot Aronson, in their book, Mistakes Were Made, But Not By Me, explain how our brains use cognitive dissonance to justify and romanticize past choices. If you've ever found yourself thinking, "But they were so perfect for me," or "I'll never find anyone like them," you've experienced this firsthand. Your mind exaggerates their good qualities while conveniently downplaying or even erasing the moments when they let you down. Now, let's bring in a spiritual perspective. Buddhist teachings from the Dhammapada emphasize mindfulness and detachment, reminding us that clinging to illusions creates suffering. One verse says, "Just as rain penetrates a poorly thatched house, so passion penetrates an undeveloped mind." Here, passion doesn't just mean romantic love. It's the emotional grip of attachment and the illusions we create about people. Recognizing this allows us to step back and see the full picture. Ask yourself this: are you holding on to the reality of the relationship, or the version your mind has idealized? Often, it's the latter. The person you remember isn't just them. It's the version of them shaped by your hopes, dreams, and emotions. That version, as comforting as it may feel, is not entirely real. Acknowledging this is a crucial step toward letting go. Here's a simple exercise to challenge the highlight reel. Write down both the good and the bad aspects of the relationship. Be honest and specific. This isn't about diminishing your feelings, but about grounding them in reality. Seeing both sides on paper can help you break free from the illusion and begin to heal. As you do this, Remember that releasing someone doesn't mean you're erasing the good times. It means you're choosing to honor the truth of what was, while freeing yourself from what wasn't. Healing begins when you stop clinging to a fantasy and start embracing reality. The idea versus reality. Let me ask you something. When you think about the person you're struggling to let go of, are you holding on to who they truly were, or are you attached to the idea of them? It's a question worth pondering, because often it's not the person themselves that we can't release. It's the version of them we've created in our minds. This is a psychological phenomenon known as idealization. We take the good moments, the potential we saw in them, or the way they made us feel, and we construct an idealized image that overshadows the reality of who they were. This isn't to say they didn't have wonderful qualities, but the version of them you're clinging to may be more about what you wanted them to be, rather than who they actually were. Viktor Frankl, in his masterpiece, Man's Search for Meaning, discusses how we often project meaning onto relationships to fill the voids within ourselves. We might see someone as our savior, our soulmate, or the person who completes us. But here's the thing. No one can complete us. That's a journey we have to take on our own. Frankl's work reminds us that true meaning comes not from what someone else brings into our lives, but from how we respond to and grow from our experiences. This brings us to a profound teaching from Sufism. What you seek is seeking you. Often, the qualities we admire in someone else, kindness, strength, love, are reflections of what we wish to cultivate within ourselves. When we idealize someone, we might be overlooking the fact that the connection we seek exists not in them, but in us. The love, the strength, the wholeness, they're already inside you, waiting to be acknowledged. Let's take this a step further. Ask yourself, what idea of this person are you holding on to? Were they a symbol of security in a chaotic time? Did they make you feel seen when you doubted your own worth? Understanding what they represented for you is crucial, because once you identify the role they played, you can begin to find those qualities within yourself. Here's a simple but powerful exercise. Write a letter, not to them, but to the version of them you've idealized. In this letter, thank them for the lessons they brought into your life, but also acknowledge the reality of who they were and what the relationship truly was. Then, close the letter by reaffirming your commitment to find within yourself the love, security, or strength you're seeking. You don't need to send this letter. It's for you, a step toward reclaiming your power. Remember, letting go of the idea of someone isn't a betrayal of what you felt. It's an act of love for yourself. It's choosing to see things as they were, so you can heal, grow, and move forward. The unspoken closure. Have you ever found yourself replaying the same questions in your mind, over and over? Why did it end this way? Did I do something wrong? What if things had been different? These unresolved thoughts can feel like chains, keeping you tied to the past. More often than not, it's not the person themselves that holds us back. It's the lack of closure. Closure is a concept we often romanticize. We imagine a final conversation where all the unanswered questions are resolved, where apologies are made, and where we can walk away with peace of mind. But life, as you know, rarely gives us such clean endings. Many relationships end abruptly or ambiguously, leaving behind a void filled with uncertainty. And here's the truth. Waiting for someone else to provide closure is like waiting for a storm to calm on its own. Sometimes you have to create that closure for yourself. Psychologist John Bowlby, the father of attachment theory, offers valuable insight into why closure is so critical. Our emotional bonds are deeply ingrained. especially in relationships where trust and vulnerability were involved. When those bonds are severed without resolution, the mind struggles to make sense of the loss. It's as if a story has been left without an ending, and our brains, desperate for completion, keep returning to it. But here's something to reflect on. Closure doesn't always come from the other person. It comes from within. Writing a letter, even one that's never sent, can be a powerful way to close the emotional loop. This idea is beautifully captured in Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke, where he speaks of the transformative power of self-expression. By putting your feelings into words, you take control of the narrative, allowing yourself to release the emotional weight. Let's make this practical. Sit down with a pen and paper, or your laptop, if that's more your style, and write a letter to the person you're trying to let go of. Pour your heart into it. Say everything you wish you could have said, the good and the bad. Acknowledge the pain they caused, but also the joy they brought into your life. Most importantly, thank them for the lessons, even if those lessons came through hardship. Then, write this. I release you, and in doing so, I reclaim myself. This exercise isn't just about saying goodbye. It's about reclaiming your power. It's about acknowledging that while the ending wasn't perfect, you don't need perfection to move forward. You don't need their permission to heal. You are the author of your story, and you can choose to write a new chapter. Closure, at its core, isn't about forgetting. It's about accepting. It's about giving yourself the gift of peace, even when the past doesn't provide it. And once you've taken this step, you'll find that the weight of the unanswered questions starts to lift, making space for something far more valuable: your own healing. Reclaiming your identity. Let's shift the focus now, from them to you. After all, when someone unforgettable leaves our life, it's not just their absence we struggle with. It's the way it shakes our sense of self. Who are you without them? What do you do with the part of your identity that was tied to that relationship? These are hard questions, but they hold the key to your healing. Søren Kierkegaard, the great philosopher of existentialism, once wrote, "The most painful state of being is remembering the future, particularly the one you'll never have." When you lose someone significant, it's not just the present you're mourning. It's the future you envisioned with them. It's the version of you that existed in that imagined life. This loss can leave you feeling untethered, like a ship adrift without an anchor. But here's the thing. You were someone before they came into your life, and you are someone still. It's time to reconnect with that person. Michael A. Singer's The Untethered Soul offers a profound perspective on this. Singer explains that our true self is not defined by external relationships or circumstances. It is the part of us that remains constant, unchanging, and whole, no matter what life throws our way. So how do you begin reclaiming your identity? Start by rediscovering the things that make you you. What are the passions or hobbies that light you up? What dreams did you have before this person became a part of your story? Reconnecting with these aspects of yourself isn't just therapeutic. It's empowering. It's a way of saying, I am whole, even without them. Let's make this actionable. Grab a journal and write down 3 things. 1. Something you've always loved doing, but perhaps set aside during the relationship. 2. A new skill or hobby you've always wanted to try. 3. A goal, big or small, that excites you. Commit to exploring at least one of these in the coming weeks. This isn't about distraction. It's about rediscovery. Here's another exercise. Reflect on who you were at your happiest independent of any relationship. Maybe it was during a specific period of your life, or maybe it's tied to a particular activity or accomplishment. Write down what made you feel alive during that time, and consider how you can bring some of that energy back into your current life. Remember, this is not about rejecting the past or the person you're letting go of. It's about reclaiming the parts of yourself that may have been overshadowed by the relationship. As you do this, you'll find that your sense of self becomes less tied to what was and more rooted in who you are now. You are more than your relationship with anyone else. You are a dynamic, evolving being with endless potential. Reclaiming your identity is not just a step toward healing. It's a celebration of your individuality. It's a reminder that you are whole, just as you are. Environment as a healing tool. Let's talk about your environment, the spaces you inhabit, and how they influence your healing journey. You might not realize it, but the physical world around you plays a huge role in your emotional well-being. It's not just where you live. It's how your space feels, what it holds, and what it reflects about your inner state. Think about it. Have you ever walked into a cluttered room and felt instantly overwhelmed? Or stepped into a serene, tidy space and immediately felt at ease? That's because your surroundings have a direct impact on your mind and emotions. When you're trying to heal from a significant emotional loss, your environment can either support your journey or hold you back. The principles of feng shui, an ancient Chinese practice, emphasize the importance of energy flow in your living space. According to feng shui, clutter, especially items tied to emotional memories, can block positive energy and keep you emotionally stuck. Sylvie Aubenas, in her book Your Space, Your Life, explains that decluttering isn't just about tidying up. It's a symbolic act of releasing what no longer serves you. Holding onto objects tied to the person you're trying to let go of can create a subconscious loop of attachment. By removing or rearranging these items, you create space for new energy and opportunities. Let's make this practical. Look around your living space. Are there items, photos, gifts, or keepsakes that constantly remind you of the person? Consider placing these items in a box and storing it out of sight. You don't have to throw them away unless you're ready. The simple act of moving them can create a sense of emotional distance and signal to your mind that you're ready to focus on yourself. Ayurveda, the ancient Indian system of healing, also highlights the connection between physical space and inner balance. It suggests that your environment should reflect the state you wish to cultivate within yourself. For example, incorporating elements like fresh flowers, natural light, or soothing colors can promote feelings of peace and renewal. Even small changes, like adding a calming scent with essential oils or candles, can create a sanctuary for healing. Ask yourself this: what kind of energy do I want my space to reflect? If the answer is peace, joy, or freedom, start curating your environment to mirror that energy. You don't need to redecorate your entire home. Simple acts like rearranging furniture, letting in more natural light, or adding a few plants can make a big difference. Finally, consider this perspective. Your environment is an external representation of your inner world. When you take the time to care for your space, you're also caring for yourself. By creating a healing environment, you send a powerful message to your mind and heart. It's time to let go, move forward, and embrace the next chapter of your life. Healing isn't just about what's happening inside you. It's also about what surrounds you. Your environment can be a powerful ally in your journey to emotional freedom. So take a look around, make small changes, and let your space work for you. Rewriting the narrative. Let's take a moment to reflect on the stories we tell ourselves about the people we can't let go of. What's the narrative you've constructed around this person and the role they played in your life? Often, the story becomes one of what could have been, a tale of loss, regret, or longing. But here's the empowering truth. You can rewrite that story. The human mind is naturally drawn to storytelling. It's how we make sense of the world. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, teaches us that the stories we tell ourselves have a profound impact on how we feel and behave. If your internal narrative is one of victimhood or unfulfilled love, it will continue to feed those emotions. But if you consciously shift that story to one of growth, resilience, and learning, you open the door to healing. Tara Brach's radical acceptance provides profound insights here. She explains that clinging to past narratives, especially those rooted in blame or guilt, keeps us trapped in a cycle of suffering. The way forward, she suggests, is through acceptance, not of the hurtful events themselves, but of the reality that they happened and that you can choose how to respond. By reframing your story, you take control of the narrative and reclaim your power. Here's an example. Instead of saying, "I was abandoned and left broken," try shifting it to, "This experience taught me resilience and showed me the strength I didn't know I had." Notice how the focus changes from pain to growth. This isn't about minimizing what you went through. It's about seeing the broader picture and finding meaning in your experiences. In Christian mysticism, Meister Eckhart speaks of redemption through inner transformation. He writes, "When the soul looks back at its wounds and sees how they have shaped its path to God, it rejoices." This perspective encourages us to view even our most painful experiences as steps toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and the divine. Let's make this practical. Think about one recurring thought or belief you have about the person you're trying to let go of. Write it down. Then ask yourself, is this thought serving me? If not, how can I reframe it in a way that empowers me? For example, if you've been thinking, "I'll never find someone like them," you could reframe it to, "That relationship taught me what I value in a partner, and I'm now better equipped to find someone aligned with my needs." Another powerful tool is journaling. Write the story of your relationship as you've been telling it, and then rewrite it with a focus on lessons learned and personal growth. This isn't about erasing the past. It's about reshaping its meaning. Remember, you are not defined by what happened to you. You are defined by how you choose to interpret it and move forward. Rewriting your narrative is not just an act of healing, it's an act of liberation. You get to decide the role this person plays in the story of your life, and you can choose to make that role one of empowerment, not pain. Lessons hidden in the pain. Pain has a strange way of being both a curse and a teacher. It's uncomfortable, even unbearable at times. But if we're willing to sit with it, pain often reveals lessons that no other experience can. So let me ask you, what has this loss taught you about yourself, about love, or about life? Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In this context, the impediment is your pain. It feels like an obstacle, blocking your path to happiness. But if you examine it closely, you might find that it's actually pointing you toward growth and transformation. When someone leaves our life, especially someone unforgettable, they often leave behind questions that force us to reflect deeply. Why did this relationship matter so much? What needs were fulfilled, and what was left unmet? These questions can feel heavy, but they're also opportunities for profound self-discovery. They invite you to examine your patterns, your desires, and the parts of yourself that may have been hidden or ignored. Zen Buddhism teaches us to view challenges through the lens of impermanence and resilience. One teaching goes, "The lotus blooms most beautifully from the deepest mud." In other words, the most difficult experiences often lead to the greatest growth. Pain is the mud, and you are the lotus. It's messy and uncomfortable, but it's also fertile ground for transformation. Let's explore this further. What if this experience wasn't just about the loss of the other person, but also about reconnecting with yourself? Maybe it's teaching you to set healthier boundaries, to honor your worth, or to find love within yourself, rather than seeking it externally. These are not easy lessons, but they are invaluable. Here's a practical exercise. Write down 3 things this relationship taught you. Be specific. For example, I learned that I need to communicate my needs more openly. Or, I realized that I often compromise too much of myself to make others happy. These lessons aren't about blame, they're about awareness. Once you've identified these lessons, think about how you can apply them moving forward. How can you use what you've learned to create healthier, more fulfilling relationships in the future? Carl Jung believed that pain often arises from the shadow self, those hidden parts of our psyche that we resist acknowledging. When someone enters our life and touches those shadows, they illuminate what we've been avoiding. This can be uncomfortable, even excruciating, but it's also an opportunity to integrate those parts of ourselves and become whole. The key is to shift your perspective. Instead of seeing this pain as something to escape, see it as a guide, a mentor of sorts. What is it trying to teach you? What strengths have you uncovered in yourself because of it? By embracing these lessons, you transform your pain from a burden into a stepping stone. Pain is not the end of the story. It's a part of it. And while you may not be able to see it fully right now, the lessons hidden in your pain are shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more self-aware. When you look back, you'll realize that what once felt like an ending was actually a beginning. Taking charge of your future. Now that we've explored the roots of attachment, the illusions of memory, and the lessons hidden in pain, it's time to shift our focus forward, to you, your future, and the life you want to create. Because healing isn't just about letting go. It's about stepping into a new chapter with intention, purpose, and strength. When we lose someone significant, it's easy to feel like our life is on hold, as if the story can't continue without them. But here's a truth worth holding on to. You are the author of your story. While the past has shaped you, it does not define you. The pen is still in your hand, and the next pages are yours to write. Joseph Campbell's concept of the hero's journey offers a beautiful way to reframe this moment in your life. In every epic tale, the hero faces trials, loss, and moments of doubt, but these challenges are never the end. They are a call to transformation. Campbell reminds us that we all have the capacity to step into the role of the hero, to take charge of our lives and shape our destiny, no matter what we've endured. Ask yourself, what kind of life do you want to build from here? This isn't about erasing the past. It's about building a future where you're no longer defined by it. Start by setting small, meaningful goals. These don't have to be life-altering. It could be as simple as learning a new skill, pursuing a hobby you've always wanted to try, or reconnecting with old friends. The act of moving forward, even in small ways, creates momentum and reminds you of your own agency. Bill Burnett and Dave Evans, in their book, Designing Your Life, provide practical tools for crafting a fulfilling future. One of their key ideas is to prototype your life. Experiment with small changes to see what brings you joy and meaning. For example, if you've always dreamed of being more creative, take a single art class or set aside time each week to write, paint, or express yourself in another way. These small steps add up, helping you rediscover passions and purpose. Let's ground this in an exercise. Take a moment to visualize your ideal day 5 years from now. Where are you? What are you doing? Who are you surrounded by? Write this vision down in as much detail as possible. Then, identify one small action you can take today to move closer to that vision. It might feel far away, but every step counts. Confucius wisely said, "It does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop." Progress, no matter how incremental, is still progress. The key is to focus not on the distance you have to cover, but on the steps you can take right now. Finally, let's address the fear of the unknown, which often holds us back. It's natural to feel uncertain about the future, especially after loss. But remember, uncertainty is also where possibility lives. By embracing the unknown, you open yourself up to opportunities, experiences, and connections you can't yet imagine. This is your time to take charge, to build a life that reflects not just who you've been, but who you're becoming. You are not just healing from the past, you're creating a future that's yours to claim. Healing is a lifelong journey. Healing often feels like it should have an endpoint, a place where we can finally say, "I'm over it," or "I'm done with this pain." But the truth is, healing isn't a destination. It's a journey. It's an ongoing process, one that evolves as you do. And that's not a bad thing. It's a sign of growth, a reflection of your resilience and humanity. Let's talk about why healing is a lifelong process. When you lose someone unforgettable, their memory doesn't vanish. Instead, it becomes part of your story. The goal isn't to forget them or the pain they caused, but to integrate those experiences into your life in a way that empowers you rather than holds you back. This is where mindfulness and presence come in. Phenomenology, the philosophical study of lived experiences, offers profound insights here. It emphasizes the importance of being fully present in each moment, not as a way to escape the past, but as a way to transcend it. When you're present, you stop clinging to what was, or fearing what might be. You allow yourself to simply be, and in that state, healing happens naturally. Pema Chodron's The Wisdom of No Escape provides practical wisdom for this journey. She writes about embracing the present moment, even when it's uncomfortable, and finding peace within it. Healing, she suggests, isn't about fixing yourself, but about learning to sit with yourself, with all your pain, joy, and contradictions, and accepting them as part of your human experience. Here's a simple practice to help you embrace this mindset. Take 5 minutes each day to sit in silence. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and focus on the sensations in your body. If memories or emotions arise, don't push them away. Instead, acknowledge them with compassion, as if you're listening to a dear friend. This practice isn't about solving anything. It's about creating space for yourself to heal. Ram Dass, a spiritual teacher, spoke often about the importance of living in the now. He said, "Be here now." This simple yet profound idea reminds us that the present moment is where life happens. It's where growth begins. The more you anchor yourself in the present, the less power the past has over you. But healing isn't just about mindfulness. It's also about action. Think of healing as a garden you tend to over time. Some days you might pull weeds, letting go of harmful thoughts or habits. Other days you plant seeds, new experiences, relationships, or goals. And some days you simply rest and let the sun do its work. All of this is part of the process. Let's ground this in a practical exercise. Reflect on where you are in your healing journey right now. What's one thing you've already done to support your growth? Acknowledge and celebrate that progress. Then, think about one small, nurturing act you can take this week. Whether it's journaling, spending time in nature, or connecting with a supportive friend. Healing happens in these small, consistent acts of self-care. As you move forward, remember this. Healing doesn't mean you'll never feel pain again. It means the pain no longer controls you. It becomes a part of your story, not the whole story. And each day, as you take steps toward growth, you're writing a narrative of resilience, strength, and transformation. The way forward. Let's bring everything we've explored together. Releasing someone unforgettable isn't just about letting go. It's about reclaiming your life, your identity, and your power. It's a journey of transformation, rooted in understanding, acceptance, and growth. As Carl Jung once said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." These words carry the essence of healing. Your past, your pain, and even the unforgettable person you're trying to release are parts of your story. But they do not define you. You are not bound by the memories or the emotions that once held you captive. You have the power to choose how you move forward. Throughout this journey, we've uncovered profound insights from psychology, philosophy, and spirituality. We've explored why it's so hard to let go, how our memories create illusions, and the difference between the idea of someone and the reality of who they were. We've talked about unspoken closure, reclaiming your identity, and using your environment as a tool for healing. Most importantly, we've looked at how to rewrite your narrative, uncover the lessons hidden in pain, and take charge of your future. But here's the most crucial takeaway. Healing is not linear, and it's not a one-time event. It's a lifelong journey, one where you continually grow, learn, and evolve. Some days will feel lighter than others, and that's okay. The key is to keep moving forward, even if the steps feel small. Let me leave you with this thought. The person you're struggling to release may have played a significant role in your life, but you are the main character of your story. Their chapter may be over, but the book of your life is far from finished. And what comes next is entirely up to you. As you continue on this path, remember to be kind to yourself. Celebrate the progress you've made, no matter how small it seems. Surround yourself with people, practices, and spaces that nurture your growth. And whenever doubt creeps in, remind yourself of the resilience and strength you've already shown. This isn't goodbye to the past. It's hello to your future. A future where you are free to love, to grow, and to live fully. A future where you choose yourself, unapologetically. If this video resonated with you, take a moment to share it with someone who might need these words. Join our community by subscribing, because healing is easier when we walk the path together. And remember, you are not alone on this journey. You are stronger than you know, and your best days are yet to come. Thank you for being here, for choosing growth, and for trusting this process. Your story is still unfolding, and I can't wait to see where it takes you.